very much, Shalom, and greetings to you all. I hope it was a wonderful new year for everyone, and that 20 high will be a great year. And I guess if you live in California, it will be both of those. Now, not everyone, however, feels they're entering a brand new cycle. Just as we all have different circadian rhythms, kind of like an Apple or Microsoft operating system running in the background, those rhythms that set out our 24-hour clock when we're energized, when we're drowsy, when we're alert, when we are sleepy, we can each have different annual rhythms. Now, some are on this calendar year where January is new. Some are on the Jewish secular year of the fall being the start. And of course, some are on the cosmic cycle of spring being the beginning. Whatever your cycle happens to be, it's basically connected to either an equinox or a solstice, one of the 4 key special days of the year. And probably the weakest is the one we just celebrated. Not on the solstice and set arbitrarily, lacking that magic rhythm of life, but since it's the one that governs pretty well most of the world today, let's hope that you do find newness and magic in your year ahead. But I hope, regardless, it was great for you and that only wonderful things happen and that all your hopes, dreams, and wishes come to fruition in this coming year. Now, we're about to read what many consider the greatest of the 5 books of Moses, the Book of Names, better known as the Book of Exodus. Now, that title tells us what we can expect. The other one, eh. And you will notice, my friends, how the Book of Names provides almost no names. It's a thematic book. And the great hero of the book, the man Moses, and that's a term we're going to hear over and over again, well, we actually never do learn his real name. Today, we are going to consider names. Now, there's a lot of songs about names and their use. And the one that immediately came to mind for me was written by the late, great Steve Goodman and John Prine, although probably best known through the performances of David Allen Coe. Although it certainly is the kind of song that my friend, the Pastor Adam Band, would play. Yeah, I can just see that happening quite easily. It was all that I could do to keep from crying. Sometimes it seems so useless to remain. You're the one who always tried to change me. That is why I'll always stay the same. Hang around as long as you will let me. I never minded standing in the rain. You don't have to call me darling, darling, but you never even call me by my name. He wrote it as a kind of a country and western song, and he added all these fantastic things. And then he did this little speaking thing. Well, I've seen my name a few times in the phone book and on the neon sign above the bar I used to own. And there's only one thing I'm really sure of. I'm gonna hear it when the good Lord calls me home. Names. How often is your name used? Well, it's used all the time, my friend. As the bard wrote, what's in a name? Which we call a rose by any other name. Would smell as sweet. Names. And I think of all the names of you who join in as we welcome everybody together every week. And we celebrate as a like-minded group in our showing of faith, of love, of community, a chavura, fellowship. When we express our nature of kindness, of compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all as we come together every week in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know. Come on down, people, physically, psychically, emotionally, or spiritually, to gather and share from Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, Hine Matov, Shebetavim Gam, yachad, hine to shevet achim gam yachad. So what does that mean? It means how good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community, community, community. Together, we are a giant community, my friends, so let us all spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the world. My friends, let's continue to share the miracle of healing, of renewal, as we continue to send prayers to heal and renew those in need. Let's send prayers out to my dear friend Rabbi Barbara. She had a terrible fall. Let's hope she recovers quickly. And let's continue to send healing to Chuck, to Veronica and Aubrey, to Rosemary, to Ben, and to whoever else you may know who come to mind, to share energy and send healing, renewal to all. And friends, make sure you include yourselves. We all need renewal. Remember, it is the kindness, healing, wishes, goodwill, and love that we all send out that circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit never dies. Me, Shemera, Avoteinu, Makor HaBracha, Limoteinu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Misha Barak, let us all have our spirits renewed the world over, my friends. Now, even though I knew the story, hey, what Jewish kid did not? We reenact it every year. Going to the theater as a child and seeing the 10 Commandments on the large screen brought it to life in a way that no book ever could. Whisked away back in time, thousands of years, to see the idea of the birth of freedom, the separation of the Red Sea, the writing of the 10 words. Well, it just left an indelible mark. And perhaps that's one of the reasons I wanted to be a rabbi. Now, the story of the Exodus is a different story than what we have been reading so far. Written differently, with different purpose. Now, people search for its evidence in the desire to prove the Bible as history. Some say it happened, some say it did not. Friends, the Exodus is the story of the birth of a nation and the birth of some cornerstone ideas. Practically everything that follows it in the Bible flows from it. The greatest concentration of miracles in the Bible, the difference of the first statement of the 10 Commandments. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the land of confinement, out of slavery. The introduction of Moses, as well as Aaron and Miriam, the early great prophets, and we never got to know the patriarchs like we get to know them, and also the first priests. Now, a great biblical scholar once said, the story of Israel's flight from Egypt is the most important in the Hebrew Bible. Scholars have written thousands of articles and books about it. Biblical scholars, Egyptologists, archaeologists, linguists, historians, literary scholars, geologists, anthropologists, people from practically every background you can think of have been drawn to this story. Millions of people tell it and retell it and celebrate it and teach it to their children. And we do not even know if it really happened. Wow, what an impact this story has. Now, I encourage everybody to read or listen to all the weekly parshas, of course. And I'll be the first to tell you, some are pretty tough to get through, especially when we get to the priestly book of Leviticus. But this is a story to read. As you approach the Torah, go ahead and pick and choose the ones you want. You'll ultimately do them all. Maybe not in a year, but in a lifetime you will have read the entire Bible. And for those who read and those who do not, each week I try and give you something to think about, something to find from ancient wisdom, ancient messages still applicable in your life in 2018. Now, this week's Parsha is about identity. Friends, you are not identified by name, but by thought, word, and deed, by your imprinting your will, your intent, your kavanah on the world. and by the resultant influence. Now, you're going to notice in this book, we never learn Pharaoh's name, and yet it's all about Pharaoh and the plagues. We never learn Moses' real name, and he's the hero of the story. The only name we're actually given is God's name, which we had seen before, but which has incredible meaning we did not understand. You see, it's not just a name, but a statement. And we're given a symbol that stands to this day. Fire, a symbol of revolution, of power, of freedom, of knowledge, of light. The God of Exodus is a God of fire, and it will be his calling card. A God who will lead us to the brink of independence, throw obstacles up, and expect us to use our inherent knowledge from the Garden of Eden to grab it for ourselves. Thunder on the mountain and there's fire on the moon. Ruckus in the alley, the sun will be here soon. Today's the day, gonna grab my trombone and blow. Well, there's hot stuff here, and it's everywhere I go. Feel like my soul is beginning to expand. Look into my heart, you'll start to understand. You brought me here, now you're trying to turn me away. Writing on the wall, come read it, come see what it say. Fire. It is the calling card to notice in this book of names, the book of Exodus. Now we actually begin with a summary. We are told the names of the sons of Jacob, and we knew them all, and that they have lived in the land. And then, Exodus 1:6, and Joseph and all of his brothers and all of that generation died. And the children of Israel were fruitful and teemed and multiplied and became very, very powerful. And the land was filled with them. And a new king rose over Egypt who did not know Joseph. A new king, a new Pharaoh. You know what? There are 5 pharaohs in the Torah, my friends, and we know the names of none of them. And in this case in particular, the name would take away the meaning. Friends, the lesson about the Exodus is in the fact we all have a pharaoh, a king, a ruler, who dictates and controls our lives, and does so through the great legacy of Jacob, fear, the one thing that he made sure all of his children had inculcated in them. But we all have a pharaoh. Who's yours? Do you know? What do you do to overcome your pharaoh? There is hope. The thirst for freedom will never go away. And it is embodied in the character of the hero we're going to meet, Moses. Now, we meet Moses in Exodus 2:3 when we find out his mother puts the nameless 2 or 3 month old baby in an ark. But it is a tabah, box, like the box that carried Noah, the exact same word. And we do not think of Moses in a ship, but in a basket. But we think of Noah in a ship and not a basket. Same word. Oh, how our preconceived discriminations dictate our thoughts. Sweet Devorah always notes that difference. Interesting how certain things stick out for certain people. And we all know the story. He's found by Pharaoh's daughter, given back to his own mother to wean, then brought back to the royal princess. Well, in reality, this probably takes place over a period of 3 years. And we never learn his name. We're told the princess names him Moses, which is actually Egyptian for true son, a name given to many pharaohs so no one would ever question their lineage. And it's a very apropos name given his unusual birth and appearance. Exodus 2:10, and the boy grew older, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, because I drew him from the water. Wow. This, too, my friends, would make a fantastic midrash. Who was he? What was his real name? We can hardly resist wondering why the parents would not be pictured as giving their son a name. Would they simply have said, my son? And would he think that's his name? How often a day do you use the name of a loved one that for, up to 3 years, here's somebody who actually has no name that we're aware of. Well, he grows, and we read that he kills the taskmaster, flees to Midian, where he performs the betrothal ritual, marries Zipporah, and lives the peaceful life of a shepherd. Exodus 3:2. And an angel of Yahweh appeared to him in a fire's flame from inside a bush. And he looked, and here, the bush was burning in the fire. The bush was not consumed. Moses sees this phenomenon. He goes to investigate the burning bush. A fire that burns but does not consume, like the human spirit. So true then and so true now. And I think of the words of Charlie Chaplin, who once said, "To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die. And the power they took from the people will return to the people. And as long as men die, liberty will never perish." And those words have a timelessness about them. They talk about a temporary, permanent state of man. The search for freedom. Liberty will never perish, my friends. Exodus 3:4. And the Lord saw that he turned to see, and God called him from inside the bush, and he said, "Moses, Moses." And he said, "I am here." There we have the double name calling, that life-altering moment when the answer tells us that the choice has been made. I am here. We already know what the choice is. And he said, "I'm your father's God, Abraham's God, Isaac's God, and Jacob's God." And Moses hid his face because he was afraid of looking at God. God does not introduce himself as the God of creation or of Israel, but as Moses' father's God. Now that too is interesting. Just who was his father? We knew God told Jacob to go to Egypt, that he would accompany him down and would lead them out. Well, it looks like it is time. Exodus 3:10. And now go, and I'll send you to Pharaoh and bring out my people, the children of Israel, from Egypt. Friends, Moses does not want to go anywhere. He is 80 years old. So Moses fights it. And God says he will be with him, and he tells him the name to use, his name, if people ask. Exodus 3:14. Vayomer Elohim el Moshe. And God said to Moses, Eyeh Asher Eyeh. I am who I am. Vayomer Kotomar Libnei Yisrael Eyeh Shalacheni Alekem. And he said, you shall say this to the children of Israel. I am has sent me to you. Well, we now know God's name. You know my name. Better look up my number. You know my name. Look up the number. You know my name. You know my name. You know my name. Look up my number. Names. The name Yahweh. The YHWHVH, that we've all seen, the four-letter name of God, which is revealed to Moses in this first meeting, is a word we've seen and a name we've seen in the Bible before. It is a third-person verb that means he causes to be. Now, of course, God says I. So I am, or I cause to be, is his name. So God introduces himself to Moses, but he says, but when the people, you tell them he, right? So God speaks in the first person, but Moses is going to explain it in the third person. So for the rest of the Bible, it is he. The third person, the name that we're all familiar with. Now, try as he might, the reluctant Moses can't get out of this new task, no matter how hard he tries. Exodus 4:10, and Moses said to the Lord, please, my Lord, I'm not a man of words, neither yesterday nor the day before, nor since you spoke to your servant, because I'm heavy of mouth and heavy of tongue. Now, there is a fantastic midrash about Moses' speech difficulties. But the most likely explanation is he did not speak the language. He was an Egyptian, and he grew up in Egypt his whole life. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred. so is everything in it. Express your gratitude. Light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, and be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. An end to terror and hatred. Remember, we are a community, my friends. We learn together. We celebrate each other. We love each other. We share this ride together. Men and women equally. Let's send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts and honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now, bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace, a week of miracles. And keep examining your intention and use them to imprint your will on the universe. Remember, we do set in motion all that happens in our lives. Our intention, our kavanah, our cause, our effect, everything's linked. As I've said, you've always had time to forgive and to be forgiven. You will always have the ability and the time, so never forget that. You have the knowledge of what is good and bad, so acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to other people. And if you've done something wrong, my friends, ask forgiveness, and do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. It's the key to a happier life. The secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself? Can you accept other people? Can you accept the world just as they are on any given day? Can you accept life just as it is without trying to control it? If you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. And do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your own promised land. Keep on dreaming. Keep on being. Keep sharing. We've just started the story of the move towards the promised land. Okay, and remember to have faith and unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and in all of you. Act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish all. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all people know peace in the air. And may you nurture kindness and love everywhere. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet the mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and the ability to be mindful, aware, present in all of your circumstances. Embrace love, my friends, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Bring light into other people's lives, because then you're sharing the gift that you have. I call your name, but you're not there. Was I to blame for being unfair? Oh, I can't sleep at night since you've been gone. I never weep at night. I can't go on. Names, we know the world by their names. Be happy, be healthy, be helpful, be kind, and be loving. Have an awesome year, everyone. And know that your name will always be known. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye. Hope you all have a fantastic year. Bye.